Yo, we live, baby. Oh, I gotta move the table. That's right. Your resume sucks. We live, baby.
I'm Goalie Green.
I'm Andre Harden. Casual Fridays.
This is a special edition. We're doing this episode on personal branding. Being that we're in Houston, we thought this would be a perfect time to talk about some of the issues we're having as a city from a sports perspective and show you how it parallels to branding in your personal life.
If you haven't been following, you know, a lot of people, a lot of players making some moves. They be like, Andre Harden, you related to James Harden? In this instance, probably not. But it is what it is, you know? So we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Well, why I keep on moving this table? But, you know, when it comes to personal branding and, you know, your image and everything, it's everything. And no matter what you do for the company, can they stand you? You know, are you that person that somebody wants to work with? Mm-hmm. Can they, you know,
build around you?
It's just a lot that goes into that. And, you know, it weighs on CEOs, it weighs on owners, it weighs on that. Can they withstand that type of headache? And that's a bad adjective. Can they withstand that headache that you are to the company, despite what you do for the company?
Yeah, 100%. So if we start from the top, we would begin with the Harden Rockets situation. Because, of course, you know, the Rockets in the last 2 years got new ownership, Tim Fertitta.
Yeah.
Big dog in business, you know, billionaire, very well known in Houston.
Yeah, that's correct.
So he comes in, and I think, you know, I can't say that man made mistakes. He's a billionaire, but I would say that, you know, running an NBA team is probably a lot different than running an organization.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you can't push around a person with the political and financial and public opinion power that players have.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a different situation. I don't think that the Rockets did anything necessarily wrong. I don't think anything organizationally is just messed up. To be honest, in that situation, if we're talking about personal branding, I would probably say, you know, the onus is more so on James Harden. Because, you know, here's a guy that he asked for a variety of different players, got them, didn't win with them. In times where they would have expected certain leadership qualities to shine through or him to be able to do certain things and carry the team, didn't happen. Hey, off the court, he does great things in Houston.
Right.
A lot of charities. He has a restaurant he recently opened up and things like that. So it's not like he's a bad guy.
Right.
But if we're talking about performance within the organization and whatnot, the company did a lot to get the things that he wanted. It didn't work out. And then the way that he left was very, it left a bad taste in people's mouth.
Yeah, well, you know, and that goes both ways. You know, company be like, hey, man, go, it's time for you to leave. That leads to bad taste in my mouth. Or, you know, you write your letter of resignation and it's just like, hey, why now?
I didn't see this coming.
Yeah, exactly.
This was a little different, though. He basically walked out and said, hey, everybody's trash. And then walked out the door. That's messed up, man.
When I leave, that's normally how I leave. Forget you. You're cool.
Right. You're cool. You suck.
Yeah.
You definitely suck.
I mean, but despite that, you know, it is a, you know, I guess a character, a type of thing that you have to uphold when it's time to part ways if you feel that way when it's time to do things like that. And that has a lot to do with your brand, how you handle those type of situations. Even though, like I said before, goalie wears bow ties to work. I'm in that light goalie.
You gotta be a special kind of human being to rock a bow tie.
Yeah,
you know,
and
full confidence.
I still don't like him, even though it has nothing to do with his job. Yeah. Do it without a bow tie. You know.
Yeah, I don't need the bow tie to do my job.
You don't.
But it just adds a little bit of, you know.
But it does. I mean, it adds a little flair. That's you. You do your job well with the bow tie. I may not like it, but why penalize you for that? You know, for wearing the bow tie. But you have no. You don't have any bearing on how I feel about that. But how you handle yourself with, you know, if we part ways and all that type of stuff with you wearing your bow tie and all that type of stuff.
Like, I just took it off and threw it in your face.
Well,
that's essentially how James Harden left. He basically told people who have been premier stars in the league that they're trash. And then hit the exit.
I understand that. I understand that totally.
So the problem is, if things don't work out at your new destination, who wants to play with you? Because my thing would be like, listen, man, you asked for this guy. He's solid. Didn't work out.
Right.
Dwight went to L.A., got a championship, and was an integral part of it. You played with Chris Paul. Didn't work out. He's making Phoenix look like they might end up being one of the top 4 or 5 teams in the Western Conference.
Good point.
Russ, he has 4 years. He's averaged a triple-double.
Okay. Didn't
work out. Like, I mean, there's a list of stuff. And this isn't stuff the organization did. He asked for it. He specifically asked for these individuals, got them, didn't do anything with them, and then on the way out tells everybody you suck. Like, that's wrong, man. Like, that's the exact wrong way to do it. And you make mistakes sometimes. That situation, the problem with it, I think, is that it's not really much of a mistake because you had a lot of opportunity to think about that stuff
now
before you did.
Granted, there's a lot of people that will probably take that same route on the way out. Like, you suck. I saved your AZZ.
Saved you a few times.
Yeah, all the time. You never gave me the recognition. Now, I understand. People take the full, you're not giving me the credit I deserve.
Right.
All that type of stuff. But to maintain my character, my dignity, my reputation, there is a way.
There's a better way to do it.
There's a better way to do it. And I think we're seeing some type of situations where right now is, running parallel like Deshaun Watson now.
Yeah, I think if you look at the two, Deshaun Watson has shown how a strong employer brand will get you much more buy-in. Now, he's asking for a trade. There's obviously some things going on within the organization of the Texans that ain't right. Completely different from the Rockets.
I mean, with too big of a city to have nothing in anybody's team right now. Yeah. That is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, that's a problem.
I mean, we would all leave if we could. We would.
From a sports perspective, it's getting ugly right now.
I mean, like I said, I'm from Detroit, Michigan. I saw Barry Sanders give his best years to the Detroit Lions and get
nothing. He got nothing.
I wouldn't even fathom putting Deshaun Watson to the same thing.
Well, so let's look at the difference. Here you got an organization, which we won't get into the behind-the-scenes stuff because nobody can quantify and verify that.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about the stuff on the field. You get rid of his star wide receiver, who just happens to be probably the best receiver in the league.
Yeah.
He's been at least in that conversation for the last 3 years.
True.
You get rid of him, he finds out on social media. And this is a guy he played college football and in the NFL with. Mm-hmm. So you get rid of him, he finds out on social media. The defense is deteriorating. You have no salary cap room. You after that, you go and recruit a host of players that really haven't been at their elite level in years. And then he turns around and has his best season with a bad defense and a bad offense. Has his best season. So when he asks for the trade, even though the organization doesn't want to do it, the picture is completely different.
Yeah.
If this situation doesn't work out and he has to stay in Houston, the people that are going to empathize and sympathize with him are going to be through the roof. There's already at least probably 25, 30 teams that are willing to give up half the world to get him anyway, right now. They're probably calling still. Like, hey, can I get him?
Yeah.
I mean, because the guy has shown that he's a leader. He'll work with what you give him. He doesn't complain. He doesn't make you look stupid out in the public. He's the type of person you want leading your organization.
Yeah.
So when you look at these things, you have to understand these are things that can pay in big, big dividends for you in your personal career. Because in your personal career, there are some people that have a brand so strong, they don't have to even write a resume.
Yeah.
If they make a phone call and say, hey, you know what? I'm thinking about making a move. People are like,
yeah.
You know what? We might create a position for this guy.
I was already thinking about that before you even came over here. Yeah.
I was trying to figure out how to get you over here yesterday.
Right.
There's people that do have that type of situation, and that's really what you want. And the way you create that is by how you handle yourself. That's why, for me, I always talk about character is the biggest thing. You can gain skills, and that's important. Getting certifications,
Right.
Getting training,
Right.
all that stuff. But your character needs to be right, and you need to carry yourself that way. Because just because you told everybody that they suck, in one spot, doesn't mean you might not have to bump into those people again. And it's also just not the way you handle yourself.
And they always do that. You always coming to unless you're making a huge career change or something like that. 9 times out of 10, you're gonna find somebody that worked with the company you were with, the department, a vendor, something. Somebody's gonna come back and has to, remember the work you did, vouch for you, all that type of stuff. And
you're like,
always,
wait a minute.
Yeah.
I remember this person. They're not the one you want, man.
It's not the person you want.
Yeah.
And it's not from just our side, as a recruiter. Hiring managers.
Yep.
Everybody remembers. Everybody remembers.
They remember stuff.
And it could be 15, 20 years, 30 years down the line, and they will always remember that. You could be like, but I improved from that and all that type of stuff.
I got better.
That was 30 years ago.
That was weeks ago. Charlie Murphy.
It was weeks ago.
That was weeks ago.
And it's like, gosh, you're gonna hold that against me, and you really start to understand that yes, that type of decision, that type of work that I did travels with me.
It does.
It does. It
does
travel with you, and some people try to reinvent themselves time after time after time. It's like the Homer Simpson meme that we just go into the bushes and come back to somebody else. Come back to the bushes. We remember you.
Right. It's not gonna work.
I remember you.
Yeah. Some things stick. I actually had a candidate just in the last month set up an interview with a client. She goes in 10 minutes into the interview, drops the call. Like just but try to fake it like, oh, the call dropped. But obviously nobody can get her back on the phone.
I understand
so
that.
That's
totally.
something that will continue. That's never gonna leave. Like I'm gonna remember it.
Yeah.
They're gonna remember it. Anybody who's aware is gonna
go ahead
that.
and permanently check that client off the list, because that's
the other thing. You got to be aware of what it actually does. You know what I mean? Now I can understand. You know what? You don't care because it's not your you feel like it's not your reputation. It's my reputation that's on the line. I know how to handle it, so I didn't lose my client. But for you as a person, you should be aware of these things. And I'm not saying you shouldn't fight. Like if there's a situation where you need to stand up for yourself, by all means do that. But be mindful of the setting you're in. You're not a boxer, so don't put your hands on anybody. You know what I'm saying? And you are in a corporate environment, so learn how to play by the corporate rules. There are rules to the game, and if you play it right, you're gonna win. Like you just have to know what type of fight you're in. So I'm not saying don't fight. I'm just saying be smart about stuff. There's no benefit to an NBA player leaving an organization, telling everybody that they suck, because down the road, if he wants to go somewhere else, people are going to remember that.
Yeah.
And guys, if they don't want to play with you, they're not going to play with you. They're like, man, I'm not trying to play with that dude. I'm not going over there.
Yeah. And, that usually happens all the time. There's a lot of people in our business who are just good recruiters. Some companies can be like, look, we're just going to put them in the corner and they're just going to do what they got to do. And, they don't have to have any team interaction. But, deep down, as far as I'm concerned, I need to be a team player. I want to be able to better the team, feed off everybody and all that type of stuff. I want to be that type of team player.
Exactly.
Where somebody can rely on. I don't want to just be that individual contributor, type person. And, even if I was in that individual contributor type person, I want what I do to affect you to help bring the team up, as far as, us excelling. And there's a lot of people who lose sight of that and just about self.
Mm-hmm.
And, with your brand, it is about how other people perceive you. It is about what can you bring to the organization, what can you bring to the team, what can you bring to the community, what can you bring to whatever. And if they see that hardworking person, good attitude, aptitude, that whatever comes here, I can excel or learn from. You know, you have a positive attitude. People are always going to remember that. Now, you might not have all the answers to everything. You might not, you know, be that person for the job, but at least they know that they can count on you to try.
Exactly.
You know, to be that person that they can lean on. You might not have the answer. You might be able to find it. You know, you might be able to have the resources. And that's what people remember with that type of stuff. And, you know, I think that goes a long way. You know, we might not be the best recruiters at all.
I'm the best recruiter.
Goalie is the best recruiter that you
recruiter.
have ever seen.
I'm a good recruiter.
So, when you call him...
He's actually pretty good, too.
You know you're going to get it when you call him. But if I do not have the answer, you best believe that we're going to be up all night, all day, trying to figure out what the solution is.
100%.
And people are going to remember that.
100%. I mean, yeah, your brand means a lot. You know, it will, and ultimately, it will get you more money. That's really what everybody cares about at the end of the day. If you want to be honest, at the end of the day, it will get you more money because the more opportunities you can get in front of, the more money you're going to be able to make. And when people look at stuff, if you've got the skill set and then you've got the intangibles too, that's how you raise your compensation. That's how it makes it easy for somebody to say, you know what, let's go 10% over budget to get this person.
And that's where we want to be.
Yep.
10% over budget with whatever we're doing. Whatever we're doing. All the targets, all the goals, all the salaries, 10% over that. Yep. And that's what we're teaching over here. YRS Consulting. We got some coachable techniques that we have, tips, and resume writing. That's just the basics. But let's go ahead and take your skill set, the way you think, to the next level. YRSconsulting.com. Shameless plug.
Yep. It's necessary, man. Let's take it to the next level. I mean, coaching, resume writing, you know, personal branding. You know, these are things that are important. They will make a difference on your compensation and salary, and it'll get your career, you know, going in the right direction. So we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to Your Resume Sucks.
Please be sure to like, hate, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to go to our website at YRS Consulting, YRS Consulting, where you can book an appointment for a resume writing session, a coaching session, or to get that merch. Oh, yeah. And follow us on YouTube, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all the podcast platforms,
all the casts.
Instagram. We'll see you guys next time.
Armcast, baby.